This is Andy Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and for the first time, I'm joined by Tommy Frank over Zoom. Tommy, how are you? Happy New Year! I hope you enjoyed the kind of the New Year and festive period as best as what you could in these difficult times.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you. First time I've been on with you, I think. So nice to finally meet you. Yeah, so everything's good. Bit of a strange start to the year, but here we are.
It is obviously, as you mentioned, mate, it's the first time we've had a chance to speak, Tommy. We had a brief chat there about football off camera, so thankfully neither of us have to relive that for everybody else.
Yeah.
But let's get into the boxing talk. Tommy is the main reason behind this interview. We or you haven't spoken to anybody from the channel since you last fought, suffered your first loss. Just kind of take me back to the night. I remember watching it. Um, an interesting event, watching boxing in a car park from on the TV. That is, firstly, just looking back on that, what was the experience like?
Yeah, honestly, the overall experience were brilliant, and I was saying it loads on the build up, but a massive well done to Dennis Hobson and Steve Crump for actually pulling it off. Because it were the UK's first driving boxing event, and that's exactly what it were. It was just a event. It were outdoors. It were in December. The weather were kind to us, so that were good. It weren't too cold. We didn't get any rain or anything like that, and I just, apart from obviously the fight and the outcome, I just enjoyed every part of it. Just looking around at how they set it up, and they really did a good job. They did a really good professional job. It was put well. It was put together well. The TV did a good job and stuff. So just a massive credit to Dennis Hobson Fight Academy, and got a lot of people talking, and put boxing on another TV channel for people to watch, during these times. So that can only be a good thing.
What was it like having the fans in their cars, Tommy? Obviously, beeping their horns quite consistently throughout the night.
Yeah, it were very strange because obviously after not so much during the rounds, but after every round they were all beeping their horns and everything like that. I'm sure you heard that on TV. So that were weird. But you could hear people cheering, so that were good. So I mean, I haven't boxed on one of these behind closed door shows, but I can imagine it's really quiet. You can hear a pin drop. So it was good to have a little bit of atmosphere in the background. So it didn't feel like you were just in an empty car park or an empty arena. It had a bit of buzz about it. You could feel something in the air. What you normally feel during a fight in a packed arena. So that was good. So like I said, the whole event went well. Like I said, obviously apart from my fight and things like that. So yeah, it was really good.
Talk me through your fight, Tommy. As you mentioned, there, it did unfortunately not go to plan for you on the night. Obviously, you suffered the injury which resulted in your corner pulling you out in the eighth round, I believe it was. Um, just going back to the fight, just talk me through it from the beginning and up until obviously the point when your corner just felt like enough was enough.
Yeah, it was just a bit of a nightmare to be honest, Andy. From I mean, I think I started the fight well. I think I just feel like things were just bubbling up nicely. I feel like I were making him miss. I were landing my own shots, and in my head, I was just warming into the fight. And I do believe that as the rounds went on, I'd have warmed in more and started letting my hands go more. And I think I'd have, although he was a very tough kid, we knew that going in, but I do believe that I were on my way to wearing him down. And then in the third round, I've watched it back since, and I can tell exactly the point where my shoulder goes. And it's like I feel I don't want to make excuses, because at the end of the day, it's on my record and it goes down as a loss. But I did hurt my shoulder. The third round. I think it was a jab that I threw, and I felt it straight away. So I tried to throw another jab, and they were just nothing in it. It was a bit of a weird feeling, to be honest. I'd obviously twinged something in it, and it just I couldn't throw a jab, I couldn't hook, and that were it. And I tried. At first, my first thing was just try and not give it away to the other guy. So I was using my right hand and just doing what I could. And I kind of tongue quietly in the corner after my third round, just so that I could get a bit of work done on my shoulder and just see if it had come back. But as the rounds went on, various points you can see me trying to throw it, but there were no chance with it, Andy. So I just I had to change things up. I had to use my right, and I found I was quite successful for a couple of rounds. But to be honest, I think it took a couple of rounds for the penny to drop that I'd actually hurt my arm. And I think once the other guy knew that I were injured, I think he just stepped the pace up. And I don't think I were in any danger of getting stopped or anything like that. But as the rounds went on, I could feel him slipping. I just think he were out flurrying me. And like the last 30 seconds of the round, he'd let a flurry go, and I had I were only using my right, so I felt like the rounds were slipping, and I didn't want to be punged out, and I tried arguing in the corner, but Glyn knows what he was doing, and him and everyone else saw something. Don't get me wrong, I'd have stayed in there, and I'd have tried till the end. I mean, I'm not known as a one punch knockout artist, but I'd have tried with that right hand till the very end. Believe me, I would. But it wasn't to be. So I've just got to try and learn what I can from it, and take the whole experience as a positive, put that positive spin on it, and come back better, stronger, and that's it.
I remember seeing the frustration from you when you was pulled out on the night, Tommy. Looking back now, the right decision, or still that little bit of a frustration that you wasn't given the chance to go back out?
Yeah, it probably were the right decision. Looking back, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'd have stayed in there till the end, and if I'm completely honest, I don't think it'd have got to me, and I really don't believe that I'd have been stopped or anything like that. Would I have won the fight? Maybe not. Like I said, in my heart, I just felt like the rounds were just slipping. But Glyn's been there and done it. I've got, honestly, I would not want any other team in my corner. You've got Glyn Rhodes, Matt Mowat, Sam Sheedy, John Fuchs. They've all been there and done it. Between them, hundreds of fights put together, amateur and pro. They've been there, they've done it. So I trust Glyn 100%, and he made the call. He's the boss at the end of the day. So that was that. But if you ask any fighter, would you have liked to stay in there? Of course I would have. And if you're gonna go out, you go out on your shield. You know what I mean? You go out in a blaze of glory. You don't want to be punged out. But there you go. That's what happened.
Tommy, every fighter deals with that first loss differently. There is a lot of pressure for whatever reason. There's a lot of pressure on fighters maintaining that oath for as long as what they can during their career. For you, suffering your first defeat, what was it like, and how have you felt kind of trying to bounce back from it?
Yeah, well, firstly, we were absolutely gutting, but I think the one thing that has helped is just how nice people have been. I got so many messages. I can't even tell you how many messages, and I tried to get back to them all. I think I have just got back to them all. People I've never even met in my life, messaging me saying that I've met a fan out of them, and they're going to follow my career going forward. So things like that, I really, really appreciate. And it sounds daft, but it feels like even in a technical loss, my stock's actually risen from it. It's got people saying good things about me, and people were saying, oh, if you had two arms, you'd have beaten. But that, I've said back to people, yeah, but that's not the point. I didn't. And at the end of the day, if but put it this way, if his shoulder went, I'd have been on him like a rash. I'd have got him out of there, because that's what you're supposed to do as a fighter. So, you know, all credit to the other guy. But yeah, you know, going back to that, people have been brilliant. So, you know, the support's really helped. You know, I've had a few days where I've thought, oh, what if this, or what if that, or woulda, coulda, shoulda. But there's no point thinking about it like that. What's been and gone is gone. And that's it. Like I said, I've just got to take the positives away from it, and one of them positives is definitely, you know, the people that are supporting me. And because they say like, don't look who's in your dressing room when you've won, look who's when you've lost. And I had a lot of people in my dressing room, so to speak, you know, backing me, behind me. So that were brilliant. So I'd say that's probably the number one positive I've took away from it. So yeah.
Tommy, talk to me about what's next then. We're in the new year now, 2021. Are you looking for the rematch? Are you looking at other opportunities? Are you looking at domestic level? What do you see as being kind of your route back into the sport this year?
Yeah, so the original plan were, you know, the original fight on that night were meant to be Kyle Yousaf for the British flyweight title. You know, that was the fight I were gearing up for. And you know, Kyle dropped out, and we had a couple of opponent changes for that fight. You know, it ended up being for that IBF Intercontinental. So, you know, the plan were to get that fight out the way, and then straight into the British title fight. So when, you know, after what happened, I was like, you know, I've messed everything up. Is everything going to be right for next year? But you know, Dennis spoke to the British Boxing Board the day after, you know, and they assured him that, you know, under the circumstances, you know, that fight can still happen, and that I can still box Kyle for that British title. So that's something I'm very grateful for. So to be honest, I've not really come out of it too bad. It's just business as usual. You know, the plan still stays the same. If we wanted the rematch, we could get it, because there were a rematch clause in the contract with Guarneros. So that's another option. But like I said, you know, the plan all along was to fight Kyle Yousaf for that British title. And you know, I'm very optimistic with what the board said regarding that, about me still fighting for that. So it's just business as usual as far as I know. I spoke to Dennis the other day. He says that he's aiming for late March, early April for that fight. So there's no, you know, as long as the board has said that it's okay, you know, I can't think of any reason why Kyle won't want to make that fight for that time. So as far as I know, that's the plan. And maybe after that fight, we can use the option on Guarneros and get that rematch, because as a fighter who's lost to someone, you automatically want to fight him again. So I'm not really bothered when it is, but I definitely do want that rematch. But like I said, my first priority is same as always. I want to get that British title fight on. So fingers crossed that fight can get made. And I just think I think everyone's kind of waiting to see what the landscape is at the minute. You know, obviously there's no boxing this month in January. So I think once we get this month out of the way, we can start talking about setting a date and things like that. So I think that's all we're waiting on right now.
Boxing at the best of times, Tommy, can be unpredictable to say the least. Is it nice in your own mind? Granted, it may not play out like that, and you'll know that yourself, but is it nice in your own mind to think Kyle next for a British title, or if I win that, I want to go back to right the wrong of the Guarneros loss? So you have kind of a plan for what you would like to do this year. Is it nice to have that thinking moving forwards into the rest of 2021?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, I think for a fighter, you definitely want to have something in your mind. So if you've got you know, not even a exact date, but if you just know kind of when you might be boxing, you've got something to train for. I think fighters, obviously, when they haven't got a date, you know, they kind of drift off and, you know, start eating, you know, rubbish and things like that. But if you've got a date in mind, you know what to work for. So I can only go on what my management, what my team's telling me and stuff like that. So so like I said, late March, early April, that's when they're looking to make that fight. So that's all that's in my head, to be honest with you. And like I said, that the ideal plan would be British title, and get that British title, and then get Guarneros again, and get that IBF intercontinental as well. So that in my head, that's the ideal plan. Yeah, definitely.
Well, Tommy, we will leave that there now. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your evening. I appreciate your time tonight. It's great to speak to you for the first time. But I'm going to leave a final word to yourself, for everyone who's going to tune in, for everybody who has supported you on your journey so far. What would you like to say to them?
Just a massive thank you. A massive thank you. If you've been sending me messages of support, I really appreciate it. If you've been putting nice comments on Twitter, I really appreciate it. If you've been putting bad comments on Twitter, I really appreciate it. And yeah, just follow the journey. You haven't seen the last of me yet. What I am promising is I am going to be 100 times better fighter through what happened in that last fight, and I can absolutely guarantee that. And I think I'm going to look back at that fight, in a few years, and it's just going to be a tiny little blip. That's what I'm hoping anyway. So either way, stay tuned, stay following.
Well, Tommy, I appreciate your time tonight. As I say, thank you for speaking to Boxing Social. Stay safe, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Nice one, Andy. Thank you, mate.